Hello everyone, welcome back. So another week has passed. Where have we got to? Well, as you can see, the Tool Pro engine stand's empty, so that's a good start. So there has been something done. So you'll see here the engine is back in car 31, which we're really excited to see. But just before we do go over and have a look at that, I just want to say we're not going to put the Tool Pro stand away just yet. We're going to, if we sneak over this way, now the engine's back in the Steve Ellery AU, we're going to put, I guess, get things in motion to pull the engine out of FTR3, the Glen Seaton Ford Tickford Racing Falcon, and get the engine out of this so we can put the stand and the engine away in storage so it's all safe. This is going to be a big restoration, this one, so we just want to make sure that everything's out of the car and sealed up and safe. So that'll all take place very shortly. We'll do a bit of a detailed video of the engine bay in this car because it is totally different to the super cheap AU, and it's a lot of carbon fibre work, and it's a really beautiful thing to look at. So although a lot of it isn't period correct for a 2000-2001 AU at the moment, it's still a really cool thing to look at. So we'll keep you posted on that one, and because that is something that'll be a lot of guys have been asking for. So stay tuned for that one. But for now, and more importantly, where did we get to on the Steve Ellery AU? So if we come over this way, you'll see here the engine is back in its natural habitat, which is really cool to see. Been a long time coming. A lot of work's gone into it since it was all pulled apart there many months ago. So, the paint's better, the engine presentation's better, and hopefully it runs a hell of a lot better too. So a lot of work's gone on since you last saw it. All the alternator, water pump, power steering pump, engine pump, everything's back on the front of the engine again. I didn't actually pull all that apart when the engine was done, but I had the job of putting it back together. So a lot of trial and error. There was a certain order things had to be done, and unfortunately on some of it I found out the hard way. But needless to say, we got there, which is good. So the engine's basically just sitting in there at the moment. A few guys have commented about the oil pump belt and how it's really loose. That's deliberate. When we get everything plumbed up and we fill the car with oil, you put a belt, take the belt off and put a belt on that pulley, and you spin it up with a drill, and that creates oil pressure without turning the engine over. And you'll see in here, that little fitting there, it's not connected at the moment, but there's a little hydraulic line that screws into that, and that goes all the way back up to the firewall, into that little elbow there, that little 45-degree elbow. And that, on the other side of that, inside the car, is an oil pressure sender unit. So it tells the dashboard whether there's oil pressure or not. So we can do all that, spin that up without actually turning the engine over. And that'll tell us, hopefully, that we've got oil pressure before we do hit the starter button, which is the plan. As far as everything else that's just on the firewall while we're here having a look, that's your main loom for your engine. That just goes into the corresponding socket on the firewall. And those two there are your fuel system fittings, which all go on the back of the airbox. So we'll start getting everything plumbed up. So radiator's got to go back in. There's still a lot of work to go. We basically just got the engine in and sitting there at the moment. The engine mounts where it goes into the cross member, we just had to do a little bit of a running repair to that. So that's been done, and they just crushed up 1 millimetre or so. So it was a little bit difficult to get the engine in, and we lost a bit of time there, but better to do it once and do it properly than try and rush it. So yeah, basically that's where we're at as of tonight. We've pulled the exhaust system out of storage, so the headers will all be cleaned up and checked for any cracks or anything, and they can all be reinstalled. And then the rest of the exhaust system, all the way through to the exhaust tips, will be all cleaned and serviced and put back in the car. Once the back of the exhaust is put on, we'll make a decision on the exhaust tips and work out whether we go 1, 2, 3 or 4. I can tell you it won't be 4 because the option on that was only out of this side of the car, the passenger side of the car. And the reason why they had everything out this side was to try and get heat away from underneath the driver's seat. What we have committed to at the moment, if we go around this way, is a twin system. So we're going to have exhausts exiting left and right. Highly technical reason, you got to have flames out both sides. It just looks cool. So that's the theory there. So we've committed to that, and we've got the option of 1, 2 or 3 on that side of it. So yeah, as you can see, engine bay is starting to look a little bit more loved. Hopefully next time you see it, it's going to look a lot more assembled. A lot of the wiring and plumbing will be all tidied up, and radiator will be in, and it'll be a lot closer to hitting the button. So stay tuned. If you've got any questions, comments, let us know. We try our best to answer as many questions as we can, and hopefully next time you see it, it'll be looking a lot closer to hitting the button and making some noise. So thanks again. We'll speak with you soon.